Let's... Jesus Christ, let's try this. Hello. Bro, it's so late. I'm so sorry. I want to be like more than an hour earlier. But things took longer today than I expected. Otherwise, I would not have scheduled the stream if I would have known that this takes this long. Right? Okay. How's everyone doing? Just vibing for a second and then we start proper. Goody! Hello, everybody. So today, we're doing a little bit of note-taking because I want to get the side notes on everyone basically done, what we imagine every ancestry to be, basically on the down low. Basically, as like a baseline, what is it every ancestry does? Was like their main thing, the main characteristics before the Aetherflood. And I did a little bit of like work before. Last time we did like, by the way, we did last time we did am I stupid? Where are they? Are they on the law? No, on the other, right? Can we put it here? I would love this to be here. Right? Because we have like everything sorted under species. So we should do this as well. Just so we have everything on one page. I think this should not be on a separate page. So we wanna do a little bit of like mainly writing, just like some note taking, some general stuff. As you may have seen, I have done a few notes. Those notes that we have are just baseline stuff, and I want to just go through everything. So I would love to go down the list and just do like okay, this is what they are supposed to be, not a list of like, oh, we not that like super extended stuff. We're going into like okay, what are these guys in general? What's the general thing? What do they do when? Is there something that is like very, very decisive, right? Like maybe like the 3 or 4 sentences that they have in the Pathfinder core rulebooks, right? Like something of that extent, just like generalistic stuff, which they all have done in their like pastime, right? So I know that I've written with Icacero a lot. Well, on the off stream, we texted a lot, and we talked about the Athamaru. The Athamaru wrote me like, if I really want to have them, if they should be in or out, and we need to do a little bit of like fitting for them. Because I want to have them. I want to have like at least one fish people. I think talking about what happens in the oceans during the Aetherflood and how that like got to all the ocean dwellers, which is like one species, would be very interesting to see, right? So what I wrote is the Athamaru were living in the oceans of Eziko for thousands of years. Very old civilization, fish-like humanoids. They stayed very stagnant and focused on more on learning magic and cultural evolution rather than technology. Fought rarely amongst themselves, but were very competitive in sports. Pious and religious, never had a natural predators and kept them out of the heritage war. With their knowledge of nature and magic, natural strength, the orcs did not attack. So that is what we had. I want them to be basically the orcs, but if they did not fuck up on their like timeline, but like a little bit different. While the orcs have like this entire thing of like, oh, we had like these bloodlines, we have like these wars, right? I want the Athamaru to be like more philosophers and condone what the orcs did. But also be a bit more magic based. Right? Like let them be the Aquamans, the Aquaman of the settings. I think that is like the best approach you can do. But we need to involve them somehow. The Aquamans. I think having them be the nature mages, the water mages basically, who had like not the like who are like, so that I'm slowly infecting a way of speaking English. The Aquamans. What I wanted to say was, it shows basically that they're like a successful attempt at the orcs, but also the disadvantage that they did not like try to keep up with the times. But they're too clean for me right now. I want them to be a bit more. I want to get a bit more edge into this. So I was thinking a lot. And I was thinking, how about we get the Greek shit out of there for the most part? Right? At least for some parts. I'm not 100% sure if we want to make them, how many minutes have passed? 7. I cannot say the word unless I want to get in trouble with YouTube in like the next 8 minutes. Let's start with an AR and it rhymes with bassist. But wanted to make them like very, very hardcore on that. I'm not into grapes, into like they love the reggae bassist movements. I don't know if there's another word for the word. Big wine OS. Oh, if we go with the if we go with a route of them being I don't know if we want to have the cannibal fishes. Do we make them like actual fish? Bro, everything from the football tournament, by the way, everything's so fucked up, dude. My arms, my legs, everything is fucked up. I look like I was in a fucking street fight, dude. Like, my leg is like shaved open, my arm is shaved open, everything is shaved open. Everything, I'm broken. I don't know what happened. Anyway, with the knowledge of nature magic, so we can. Yeah, one of them. Yeah. What wild behavior do the squid have? The dolphins I know, the whales I'm also a bit confused. What wild behavior do whales have? Really? They also like grapes? Sorry, we need to talk in weird talk for like 5 more minutes, and then we can talk like actual adults. So the question would be, yeah, I mean, if you will, like most animals in the wild do that, right? It's like basically like hormones happen, and then like someone else jumps someone else, and bam, kids. Like some animals have courtship behaviors, and some are like monogamous. But like, look at birds, for example, right? Many birds were not like the ones who are also monogamous. Many of them just jump each other. Look at like pigeons. I mean, pigeons are like awful, but yeah. Look at ducks. Look like at everything else, right? They're all like a bit grape juiced. Okay, let's try to get a focus on this one. I am willing to drop this one. I am willing to draw the first part of this one. I am willing to drop this one. Make him a bit more simple. I want them to be the Atlanteans, right? I want them to be like the Lost Society. Yeah, they need a vice to fit in the setting. They need something. But do we want to have them all be very like psychedelic induced? I don't think. I think the only thing they do they get high on volcanic fumes? But is it big in their society, right? Is it like their way of smoking, basically? Monkey D. Luffy. Okay. And would that make the Athamaru poison people? The problem is with the poison people, since we decided at the start to not do like big feed rewrites at the time, that these people still do exist, right? The Nagashi. I like that they get like high on Fugu, right? How about I'm a bit like thinking about the I'm thinking about the following. So what happened? So one of the monk types in Pillars of Eternity was the Nalpasga monk, which the Nalpasga was like a type of people, at least in like Pillars, who are like into psychedelics and try to like enlighten themselves to a higher place of being with drug use, right? How about we put this a little bit in? where they're druids and their nature connectiveness. I low-key want them to be water NK, with pufferfish replacing the coke after dinner. What is NK? I need to see animation. Oh, I know which one. We are past 50 minutes, so we can... If we wait for like 10 seconds, we can talk like normal people. In theory, if they didn't change it. But like 2 months ago, it was still the same, so I hope so. So you want him to be like Korea, right? I like the idea. I like the idea very much. Let's go with this one. Super off. Dream leader. Isolated, semi-impoverished. We have to just remember that like this is like their lore, right? And then like after a while they will, because like the Aether would be like going into the ocean as well, right? So like their living space is also like very limited now. Which is why some of them leave the waters, right? Bro, how is it? Just give me 1 second. I open all my windows now. How is it that it's cold outside? My living room is to get the heat out of my living room. God damn it. Sorry. I'm back. Hello, my favorite Nigerian trans streamer. What the hell? Fuck are you talking about? How are you today? I'm doing fine. But yeah, I'm fine today. I like them super closed off, impoverished, isolated. I like that. Can we make... So what could we take with this and add from the top? I think with like many states that are very, very closed off and isolated. Why are you talking about Reddit mods? Because we are building Reddit mods. Let's get a picture of an Athamaru, right? Just give me 1 second. Go to my second tab because I don't want to spoil anything. or to get banned again because of anything that's popping up on my monitor. This did not work. Save image as. There we have him. And the other one as well. Save image as. Cool, I deleted the other guy. Let's take him. Can I add this first guy again? Hello, first guy. Okay, we have both of them now. Congrats. Okay. Fine, playing some Blast Blue, Central Friction. Yeah, they're basically mermen, but more fish than men. The actual merman we have kicked out of the setting for the most part. Because I wanted them to be a bit more fish-like. Because everyone else is very much more animal than man, because humans are so rare. So we need to make the fish also that. So yeah. I also what did I want to say? Right. Tomorrow evening there will be another stream. And I think tomorrow morning there will be one. The morning stream will just be like a little bit of gaming, and the evening one will be celebrating into my birthday. Tomorrow's not my birthday. On the 1st, it's my birthday. So we're doing like up until it's my birthday, because I don't know if I will stream on my birthday. I think not, but I'm not 100% sure. But tomorrow we're doing the same thing we're always doing for my birthday. We're just playing a little bit of Dark Souls, bantering, drinking. We can do a drinking stream tomorrow. So evening at least, right? Where I do like, again, like every thing X happening, I drink in DS1. We can do this, or we can start a randomizer if you want to. I'm open for that. We're not doing crimes. So or we could play, just for shits and giggles, Digimon World 1. And just get tilted by how annoying that game can be. But I don't know if I find a fixed version with all the stuff accessible. Because every version is like a little bit fucked up in its own way. For my uncle's Nintendo DS, you know. We could do also a bit of Grand Blue. I'm like open for everything. But yeah, other than that, let's I could also get down to some Grand Blue. We can do a mixed stream. Like, how long will I take for DS1, right? If I start tomorrow at 8, we're like before my birthday is. Before my birthday is, it's like still like an hour or so left. We could try to get a sub 3 run on DS1 tomorrow. That would be fun, right? Like trying to speed this up a bit, but yeah. Anyway, we keep this one. They kept out of the Heritage Wars because, well, that makes only sense. We kill these two. We keep that one. This fits also with them being the North Korea of my setting. Do we want them to not... the orcs not to attack, or are they just uninterested in underwater stuff? the orcs themselves. Were the orcs interested in subjugating underwater? Or were they like, nah? Yeah, but like with like the people they had, right? Orcs must be British. Yeah, they are pretty British with the mindset of like conquering everyone. At least pre-orc purge. The question about this is, I would see them also more fire, earth, maybe wind, because of like the entire thing with like that there's like orcs in the mountains, right? I think like all three of the above ocean level elementals fit orcs very much. At least that was like the intention, right? Since we made the goblins sharks, they should definitely. Are the goblins the sharks that were kicked out of the water because they did not fit the grand design of the nation? And that's how they were like basically the and I'm like exaggerating here, but they were like basically the inbred warhounds with sentience. I like that idea. To be honest, that they also use the goblins. Yeah, we kick out this one. And write in orcs could not attack. To lack water magic. Let's put that here. Lived in a symbiotic relationship with the goblins. Capital G in the past, but the Athamaru tip the balance in their favor. Driving the goblins out of the oceans into the orcs' open arms. Okay, so we have Athamaru Supreme Leadership. Who's the Supreme Leader? Who is the Supreme Leader of the Athamaru? Using... What do we think about that? Using drugs to expand the horizon out there. Spellcasters and Using spellcasters and philosophers, right? Then we can get rid of this. I don't want them. So that is the question. How often does a Supreme Leader switch? Because they're like a big branch of like fishes. And there's like fishes like jellyfish that can technically live forever. The problem is, if I take the immortality or like the longevity of the elves, because it's hard to ride around that, fish, then we should take the longevity. How about the other believing in reincarnation, basically grabbing a Dalai Lama from somewhere? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well. That they have a Dalai Lama. I like the idea. Because that could be like their patron deity, right? God-chosen leader through reincarnation as a newborn. Athamaru. How do they test the guy? Do we pull the entire Dalai Lama thing? With like, they put out a bunch of objects and what was like very precious to the previous Dalai Lama? Twerking, bro. What was the previous Dalai Lama? Basically like picking that as like the basis? Or do we do something else? Sports. I like that. I mean, trial by death would go into sports, right? I mean, like, actually, that's like not a bad suggestion. Sports. But how do we do sports? Do we say the previous one had a sport they were good at, but then you have like a never-ending cycle of the sport they're good at? You know what I mean? Like, if one of them plays football, right? Underwater, I know. But, like, if one of them plays football, Aztec football, maybe. That is not bad. That is actually not bad. How did Aztec football actually work? There's like actually like, did they not like do like something like that as well? Did they not have like something football based? Is it not like the sport that actual football is based upon? I'm not 100% sure, but there's like actually I think there was something like that. The Mesoamerican ball game, right? But they threw hoops, basically, right? It's like more like basketball. It was a death game. Let's do some reading, some light reading, right? We're cultural here. Let's go to Wikipedia. That's the one, right? This seems like a fun thing. The Mesoamerican ball game was a sport with ritual associations played since at least 1650 BCE by the people of ancient Mesoamerica. The sport had different versions in different places during the millennia, and the modernized version of the game, Ulama, is still played by indigenous peoples of Mexico in some places. The rules of the game are not known, but judging from the descendant Ulama, they were probably similar to a racquetball, where the aim is to keep the ball in play. The stone ball code goals are a late addition to the game. The most common theory of the game, the players struck the ball with their hips, although some versions use their forearms, rackets, bats, or hand stones. The ball was made of solid natural rubber and weighed as much as 9 pounds. Jesus Christ. And sizes differ greatly from over time according to the version played. The game had important ritual aspects, and major formal war games were held in ritual events. Late in the history of the game, some cultures occasionally seem to have combined competitions with human sacrifice. Jesus Christ, that's metal. The sport was also played casually by for recreation by children. Pre-Columbian ball courts have been found throughout Mesoamerica, as for example Copan, as far south as Nicaragua, and the Oasis American, Jesus Christ, sites as far north as Arizona. These ball courts vary considerably in size, but all have long, narrow alleys with slanted side walls or vertical walls against which the balls could bounce. Okay? So basically you had like the goals, right? And you need to keep the ball in play. How do you link that to reincarnation? Do they do a tournament between children of a certain age group and the one who survives is the reincarnation? I like the idea of that. Sounds a bit metal. I like the idea of that. Anyone against it? Okay, let's do it. Let's do we call it for the time being Mesoamerican. So I find it again. American ball game. They grab all available children born when the previous incarnation passed. The winner would be crowned the new leader. The losers would be sacrificed and served. I think. Do we keep them? Do we keep them? Do we keep the fish because they're fish? Cannibalistic. At least for rituals. Yeah, and served Dot, right? And served the victor as a feast. I think that is like the how you do it, right? I think that is like a very cool idea that they are they associated with the dragons. Do we associate them with the dragons? Because the dragons... Oh my god, species. Let's go to dragons quickly. Do we associate them with them? Decent answer. Oh my god. The dragons want to kill each other by to birth legally distinct Tiamat. I mean, they could have like... I like the idea, to be honest, of the of a repeating, and so the fish murder each other to reincarnate their supreme leader. I like the idea how we have. I like the idea. Look, I like the idea of the same thing we have in our world, where you have like myths that repeat each every time, because like humans are like similar brain, right? We have like the similar brain chemistry, where like we see a picture of something, right? The sun rising, being a god, lifting it up, or like pulling it along, or whatever, or like with the stars being held up in the sky, stuff like that, right? We have like all very similar beliefs in that, even though we're like very distinct people over thousands of years. And I like the idea that this theme of like some people wanting to revive their supreme leader by offering their like young to each other and birthing like this, basically the emperor of mankind. I like the idea of that some people just like have this in their lore and that it repeats themselves, and nobody knows like who's right, and probably nobody is, but that is like funny. Which is why like they are very similar to the changeling, right? Where the changeling just assimilates people. It just does it in a reverse way, right? I like that. I would note down the similarity to the dragons. But do we associate them with one another? I mean, there is water dragons, right? There's like actually like sea drakes and stuff like that. But the sea drakes are like sea drakes in the salt water and stuff like that. It's like also like other water drakes. Do we make them allies with the changeling? Maybe we should earmark instrumentality as something that connects the changeling calls. Dragons want to fuel Athamaru combine bodies and souls recreate bodies and souls to recreate their leader. I think that is very, very cool. Yes, that we do like the people who are associated with the changeling have this very much in common, right? I like that. I know this down on my phone right now because it's better to do it like this. Because I don't know if I want to write everyone like with the instrumentality. I think this is like something that should be like, they don't even have to be active servants, but in the past they were influenced by the changing in some way. I like that. Come on, I write it. Instrumentality. It's just like something I just note down here. And then changeling as a remark. Okay, we have done this part. So we have like basically like how they choose their leader, how they existed. Do we keep them out of the War of Unity or do we keep them in? Do we say the fish also came and were like this was the Marvel moment where they arrived? Where the Aquamans come and save the day as well with their giant lobsters. We should note down something very, very important. This, and we do a bold one, and then we say no Aether tech. Used brass and other metals that would not rust underwater. The fish rushed to the mirror belt to assist the changing at the behest of their leader, and I only know are now recovering from the losses occurred. That would be pre-War of Unity, right? Because mirror belt would be Aetherflood. So we say rushed to the mirror belt at the behest of their leader and are now recovering from the losses incurred during the Aetherflood. What happened to the rest of the people? That's the next question. So they got nuked like everyone else, right? They got like nuked and Aetherflood happened, and most of them needed to like flee the oceans because, well, during the War of Unity they might have sent spiritual advisors and ambassadors to make sure the goblins are dead. Do we make them? Yeah, I'm thinking about this as well. If they just like, I'm thinking about what angle we play here. Do we play the angle of them like, oh yeah, whoopsie daisy, everyone is dead. And now we round out, we round out the knowledge you do not have. Or do we play the angle of them being like, yeah, the Supreme Leader sent us. And the Supreme Leader gave us the order because the Supreme Leader realized that playing both sides is easier and we see who the victor is at the end. I like the Supreme Leader being a little bit like fucky in terms of that he has a connection to at least like the Changeling in some regard. But I also like the idea that they are like, oh, I'd like it most of they have. I mean, we could go with this angle as well. Like, there's like 3 different angles that sound like very interesting. I need to think about this. What would be the ramifications of the Supreme Leader being dead? They would be now allies against the Changeling, right? So they switched sides basically, but don't make it official, of course, right? That they switched sides over time. Ambassadors pleaded with the leaders of the people of the land to let them advise and aid them in war to reclaim the soul of their lost warriors who bravely traveled to the Mirror Belt to stop the use of that. Yeah, I like the idea of that. Did we call it War of Unity or did we call it Unity War? Do we call it War of Unity, right? Yeah. Sorry, it's not like, I don't know. Sometimes I'm stupid. During War of Unity, Supreme Leader was killed during the Aetherflood. They switched sides in the hopes of, well, they switched to or they joined the, I call them for the time being the Alliance. Or did we have a name? I forgot again. I'm stupid. I think we didn't have a name, right? The Alliance. For the Alliance. Or do we call it the Unity? The Unity, right? To reclaim the Supreme Leaders. So under the pretense to help and give advice, to reclaim the lost souls of the warriors who bravely putting spaghetti, Jesus, who bravely traveled to the Mirror Belt to stop the use of Zahando. And then after the War of Unity, they didn't have the Supreme Leader Soul, and that is like now, like, young Athamaru get taught the history of that, right? That only with like that the soul of the true Supreme Leader is somewhere to unite the Athamaru again or something like that. Because now they're like all split apart logically, right? They cannot return to their giant reclusive empire. And that like the day of the death of the changeling will be the day where the Supreme Leader will show its face and unite the people underwater or something like that, right? Propaganda machine, basically. I will go with this. Nowadays, young Athamaru are taught that once the changeling is permanently defeated, that the true Supreme Leader will show present itself, themselves, right? Themselves, and unite the people under the seas of Eziko. once more. I don't want we just rebuild some form of Namekians. Why do I see like a bunch of green slug people running around with a very deep voice? When the Athamaru tries to kill the player characters with the special beam cannon with disintegrate, and the player survives with 1 HP and says, "You missed all my vital organs." The Athamaru just goes with all of them. It's great. It's great. Okay, I think this is like enough note-taking for the Athamaru right now. I think they're defined enough. We don't need to go deeper at the moment because we still have the other ones over here that we need to do, but I just want to do like a little bit of note-taking because starting at like 10:30, I'm 100% honest, is not the ideal starting time to do writing, which is why I want to do writing tomorrow again, a little bit at least. I think we're doing a little bit of everything, depending on when I have time. Maybe we start during the midday and I just do a little bit of like gaming, and then we do like painting or writing, something like that. No mini painting tomorrow, however, I think. Okay, we have catfolk. So catfolk, I have done some side notes. Just so we have like, because also one reason why I don't want to go too much into info here. With the orcs and the halflings and stuff like that and the dragons, we got like very, very deep into that. And I just need like the basis of everyone so we can interconnect them a little bit better. I want to do a mind map later on to see who and like who is connected to whom and who needs to be a little bit more involved. I like that we have like everyone involved with like 2 or 3 other ancestries. So like everyone else is like, it makes sense, right? With like every other country, like we are also like working with our neighboring countries the entire time. Look at the French people. You French. You. So yeah, catfolk. I have these notes. Relatives of the elves, more reclusive from tribal, were like the basis. We can switch this up, right? This is not set in stone. So if you have like an improvement, give me the improvement. Many catfolk were reclusive for centuries, believing that squabbling with the other societies was a waste of time. Because cats, they're cats, got involved in world politics only after the elves were widely enslaved by the orcs. Because the cousins were enslaved, the big cats were enslaved. So the small cats were like, meow. And then we have the Elven Uprising versus the orcs, and found their talent for espionage. And then watch the elves turn themselves into vampires. Curiosity about what would happen, won over caution. I would love to go the... I know I have not talked about this very much, but curiosity killed the cat with the elves, and I love that the other cats are watching. And that is what the next step would have been, with like, if we want to involve the catfolk in the elven genocide, where the elven deity comes down and punishes all the elves if the catfolks get involved. Because I don't think that the elven deity leaves the catfolks alone. If the elves get punished with 50 years of living, but satisfaction brought it back. That's like the main thing. I would love to see, like, this is the basis I was thinking about, that they started out tribal and just got involved in like the entire happenings around the world just after the elves were like taken by the orcs, right? Once the orcs started to fuck around with their cousins, they were like, okay, You went to the wrong house, fool, right? And then they start baseball bat the shit out of the orcs. I think all cat folks should talk like Big Smoke. Very, very important, right? That would be the funniest shit ever. With like 90s shitty gang slang and a smoker voice. You picked the wrong house, fool! Sorry, not fool, foo. But that's like what I'm thinking right now. I don't know if we rewrite something. Do we switch something? I was thinking about, like, I was sitting on the bus back home, right? And I was thinking if we do something funny. And after this, because there's like a big gap between those two events. Yeah, I think we need to, look, how about, I'm just throwing a line of text in here and you think what you think, okay? What about catfolk developed a taste for orc flesh out of necessity? Do they eat the pigs? Do they eat people? Cats are fucking brutal. We can delete the line of text. We can make them the... I want to go a little bit more into the... Okay, these are like humanoid cats. Into like what cats actually do. Because cats are like fucking vicious. I mean, they are definitely like, they're definitely like, obligate carnivores, yes. Are they that bird race that the Tau have enslaved, i.e. they eat parts of the people they kill in war only? What about atheist cats with Buddhist like code when it comes to meat for themselves? Cat are omni. Cat are omnivores, but we come to the Buddhists later because we still have the Kitsune. We make them Buddhist, I think. Did they receive a blessing from the shared deity while the cousins were punished? Maybe they became lawkeepers of the elven people because they are comparatively long-lived. I like the idea that the cats live longer. They live like for like still like 80 to 100 years. Right? Similar to like most other humanoids. And they become lawkeepers. I would not make them religious. That's like the main thing. Like not overly religious, like, or spiritual. I would make them the intelligence people, right? Fucking smart ones. Which makes them so dangerous. I think with the espionage, we got into like the perceptiveness of cats, right? And the stealthiness. And then like this entire thing. intervened when elven populations started to dwindle due to vampirism. I cannot write for shit today. Vampirism. Then we say because now we have this, right, where they intervened, assisted the best they could with the elven purge, blood purge, right? While the elves were punished, the cat folks were blessed with impeccable knowledge, acting as law keepers. Do we make them? Do we make them? Is the elven god just a plain old prick? I mean, yeah. The elven god. We have to think about this. The elven god is a cat, so since the elves are cats as well, they are like, again, because Gara on YouTube did not see what the elves look like, we have reflavored elves to be like cat looking. Not like this is not the final design, but like this is like a base thing. So we made them a little more catty. So they're cousins. So yes, he's just a prick. So let's do, not slowly pushing a glass off your table, it slowly pushes your soul into hell. I like the idea. For the punished and now shorter-lived elves. They also gained the blessing of never being able to turn undead. Can they be revived through druidic means? I mean, we can make them French. Like French-like, but no. The punishment should be born French. I'm thinking about, like, actually... I am thinking about... That's, like, the main problem. Like, for example, right? The elves no vampire thing is like so easy to implement, right? You get vampirism, you die. That's like just an elf passive, right? Do we go into the mythos of the cats and 9 lives? There's a feat for that. Give me 1 second. Now we get into the nitty-gritty, and this is why I said I want to have this like a little bit defined, because it is helpful. Load character. Let's take the human alchemist guy. Ignore. Human. Let's go uncommon. Catfolk. Accept. Then we go into heritage. No, ancestry. 10 lives. That's a Dean. Yeah, a character would die. You can do it. So we keep that, right? Okay, then we don't address this. Yeah, I'm thinking about this like similarly as well, where it's like, do we keep the 9 lives gimmick, but how they died? Do they believe in reincarnation? You know what I'm doing? Big question mark. Because we could like, we would, nah. But what I don't do, what we do is harder to reanimate. I think the elven god is just a prick in that regard, where it's like, oh yeah, it's very hard to revive them now because they cannot turn undead. But what is undead really, right? It's like something like that. I like the idea of that. Are the 9 lives a spiritual path they can follow instead of a deity if they want to be clerics? Yeah, that is a good idea. It's pretty much what Gara said, but it's like that's a bit different. Path they can follow instead of a deity if they want to be clerics. I like the ancestor worship. It goes back to the very start with the more tribal and reclusive stuff, right? Where it's like, oh, you have lived through many times. Are they? Let's see. Where's it? Oracle. And then we say mystery ancestors. We have that still, yeah. Plague Core 2. Yes, it is. Before time had a name, said one's Lego character once. What? There we go. Ancestor oracles. So now we have the point up to like elven vampirism, and now the next parts start, right? What is like the next logical point here? We have elven vampirism. They got punished or blessed or whatever. And then we go into Heritage War. Were the cats ever enslaved? Exorcist. Yeah, we have this blood purge, right? So we can write like exorcisms in here. And then we have like the next point is Heritage War. So basically slave uprising against the orcs. That's the next logical that's the next point in time. What did they do there? Just like abbreviations for the time being. Just so we know what they were doing around there. Were they were not enslaved, right? We're keeping the slave cats out because the elves were already enslaved. I think the elves and the catfolk keep out of orc slavery for the Heritage War. Them having a culture war would be interesting, but I would set that later on. Them having like literally like a culture war, starting with like them getting in touch with society and some others like being like, dude, we lived way better. I want to put that after the Heritage War. That makes way more sense. But I like the idea. We're putting that later. Never conquered. Their lands were absorbed and heavily taxed. Yeah. After revolts, I mean, at the point of the Heritage War, they did muss out the elves because they had the wizards they wanted, right? I think the catfolk never gave them anything they wanted to do themselves. And at that point, they had like all these small people who could do like sneaking and stuff like that, so they never cared, right? Probably the orcs saw them as the same thing. I think the orcs would do that, right? The orcs of that time would have said, they're like basically a subspecies of elves. Who gives a shit? Yeah. Orcs saw them as elves and were not interested enough in conquering them. Quote, quote, again. As revolts became more common, so did the catfolk started to revolt as well. It was not hard for them to escape orcish reign. Yep, Gary LMAO. Random shit, dude. Okay, it was after the escape Orcish Rain, and then we have like the next would be we skip to after the Heritage War. Don't need to reenact the entire Heritage War for like just like quick like notes. After the Heritage War, the cat folk got closer to all those who were enslaved. A civil war broke out between those who wanted to live in reclusion and those who wanted to live in unison with the other people, the other species of Eziko. I think that is like how we do this, right? They just like beat the shit out of each other. Over like conflicted interests. Some want to like work with the other people, and some like just said, okay, we like everything was better before we got involved. Let's go back to that. And now we need to think what the aftermath of that would be. Who would live and who would die? Does a faction get defeated? Except for the one straggling, of course, who's like, oh, I'll get you next time. But other than that, it's like a faction that like loses. I mean, in the end, they get reunited with everyone, right? But because of Aetherflood. The Aetherflood will happen. We're not at the Aetherflood, however. We are in the in-between of the Heritage War and the Aetherflood being a thing. We need to just think first before we think about a subfaction. Who is it that like prevails in this society? If we go in with like everything is awful, that is like the main backbone of this lore, it would be the reclusionists, right? They're fucking cats. We have to think about this. These are not people, they're fucking cats. I like Ikasero's way of like thinking that the factions were forced to unite in the face of domination by the nascent Elven Empire. I think I just copy paste that. This is very good. So we have them still be like the lawkeeper of the elves, right? So we have them like being like the spy network of the elves. Do they know about the dealings between the elves and the halflings? Now we get them. Wait, now we get into world politics. Do we have them be the guys? Did they know about the deal that the elves and the halflings had about like getting rid of the elven vampirism curse? What the fuck? Why? Sorry. Sorry for Nightbot being Nightbot. Bro. Why does Nightbot do this? But yeah, I see your shrug. Some yes, some no. I mean, if they work under the elves, out of like the elves like getting superiority again, then I would say that that they are definitely working very close together, right? Are the catfolk, just thinking, brainstorming, I'm thinking about the following. How about the elves and the catfolks, right? They're like doing this stuff. They're doing like stuff. And the catfolks, after they work with the elves, because they're cats, right? They love the game. They love the game, they love the hunt, right? How about they, as like a species, do the following and become information brokers, basically. They start spying for like everyone. It started out with the elves, and like some of them started like, oh yeah, let's spy for the dwarves as well. But then the question would be, why would they do this? And then we have like the question of, okay, how would everyone else feel, right? But it goes back to like some yes, some no. Would they be neutral because of the love of the game? I need to get some water. I will be back in like 20 seconds or so. BRB. Because otherwise I dehydrate as fuck. So, coming back. We have this unresolved civil war, right? We have this unresolved civil war. And now we have the last thing. They're forced to unite, right? Oh, did the music stop? Damn. What do we do? What's the other thing we can listen to? It's this. I've heard this track 50 million times already, and it's starting to get a little bit annoying, but hey. You know what I just realized? over time, how many Japanese fantasy is actually going into like it's like basically going into the direction of Aetherpunk. So many have like flying airships with like magitech and stuff like that. Like, I mean, like Japanese fantasy is like modern fantasy is very much influenced by Final Fantasy to some degree, in some regards. Like much of the tech there, right? Like look at Granblue. Granblue is like also going into that direction. Giant machines that are running through the magic and stuff like that, and all of the tag guns and stuff like that. Spellcasting guns. It's like very weird in that regard, but hey, doesn't matter. What I want to say was, how about we put something under this and say the growing frustrations of the catfolk resulted in them trying to break free from any superiors. So they started to deal with different factions for profit and power. So now they get power hungry, right? Because they're fucking cats. They love superiority. It's like cat things. While pretending exactly, they're like super convinced of themselves that they're like, oh, we are the top dogs, right? But they're like fucking cats, right? While pretending to be lawkeepers for the elves still, they planned to play all sides at once, but none at all. Basically, they're trying to be like trying desperately to be neutral, but piss off everyone. I think that's the main thing, right? They are like actually like, I don't want to make them the Khajiit where like everyone hates them, but like going a little bit in that direction and saying, oh yeah, they're known to be like fucking like backstabbers, right? Like at least like that's like the at least that's like the prejudice, right? Where it's like, oh yeah, you're like a catfolk dude. Of trying to find a cure for the elven blood curse, they started to trade secrets and knowledge really among the other species of Eziko as well. So yeah, I think that's like the entire thing, right? So they are doing this in the meantime. Do they play a part in what happened at the hand? I think not, right? The halflings should do their own shit and do their own espionage. They would never trust the cats. They would not trust the cats at all. I don't think. The halflings were like, nah. We have our own spying shit, right? Especially with them like, oh yeah, we're pretending to supervise this, right? We need to see how the effects of the hand are already gnomes and goblins. I don't want to involve them too much in the GGH as well. Do we want to throw another faction we have not established in to like into like some war or something like that? Like some species that we still don't have? Because we have like a lot of stuff that we can like get still. We have like Kitsune, we have Lizard Folk, we have Nagashi, Vanara, Awakened Animals. Those are like the easiest to ride. And then we have like Konrazu, Flash Warp. The Flash Warps we will, oh, this will be an entire stream. This will be awful. Not because it's not fun, but this will be awful to like just not contradict ourselves. Puppets, sprites. We can also go into like dragons and giants, right? And these are still like on the maybe pile, right? But do we want to get any one of these? Yeah, I think this will be like very important for the War of Unity, especially, right? But War of Unity, I think they stand with everyone else. If they give everyone infos, they don't have the changeling, because that would like destroy any trust of them and like the trade of like espionage and influencing things from the bag. Yeah, thank you. We're just doing also like maybe like half an hour. Yeah, see you. Thank you for helping again. It's great riding with you. Thank you very much. Have a good night. We're doing like a little bit more of riding, and because I started late, I know, but we will have more streaming tomorrow. So I would do half an hour and then I would head off. We could think about the spectrum on the changeling. So where are they on the changeling spectrum? We can say one thing. We can say Heritage War on the side of the Unity. Hell, because they wanted to keep their clients and had a big distaste for being under another leader. And then we say for like not Heritage. Oh my god. Heritage War happened, right? War of Unity. We go into Aetherflood. In between is the Aetherflood. And Aetherflood is easy. What happened during the Aetherflood for them? Acted alongside the elves and then dwarves, specifically trading information for coin in these supposed end times. And then we go into Darkened Age. Darkened Age. Held back. Blueprints for tech. As a way to barter for favors and money. So this is what happens like during the meantime, right? They're just like sitting there trading stuff. And doing their best, right? And then after the Darken Age, they like after the we go into nowadays. Powerful information brokers and spies acting solo or in small groups. I think the cats are not used to like have these like big families, at least not the house cats. They're like more solo guys, right? Cool, my first monitor turned off. Nice. I think we go with that route. That's the cats, and now we go to the Buddhists. If you're there, Gara, now we have the Buddhists. So the Kitsune, right? Let's throw on the pic of a Kitsune. So we have the Kitsune here, the fox people. What's important is usually they have a human form. We don't give it to them. In this setting, they don't have this. They're not human. No. They're just furries. Okay? So what do the fox say? What does the fox say? The fox says, I put them in the Crownlands. I don't want to make them Eastern. I hate it when like it's always the Japanese come from the East. I think they come from everywhere they want to. The entire world can be come from somewhere. And to see something. Just my imagination, I think. Okay. So, they're the spiritual ones, right? Are spiritual and from birth aether tuned. So we say they can use sorceries and stuff like that. Everything that is bloodline magic is they're from Eziko, and they can do stuff from Eziko. I would say they're lawful to the point of obsession over, like, rules and, Bro, I'm so old. What is the fucking word, man? It's not stigma, it's other words. I'm so stupid. It's law or code, dude. Am I stupid? Guardians of the Natural Order things, they do disapprove of the hand. So they don't like the nuke. But they do see the Aetherflood as natural and right. So basically, like, action begets consequence, right? I think that is like something, but like how this action happened, they do not like. I think that is what we do with them. And they are one of the few beings that are allied with the giants of the year. So they are very like, the giants are natural beings, and I think they would be allied with them. For what? What are you calling the Black Templars for? Kitsune do not like to interfere in the cycle of life excessively. They tend to be vegetarians or vegans. Growing their own crops and foods. I think that is like the thing they should do, right? Unintrusively. So basically they build like these small settlements and farm, right? That's what they mainly do. The Kitsune. So what do they also do? This won't get out of my face. So the idea is they don't want to like indulge in like the cycle of like life and nature, right? If they don't have to. We play an RPG, however, and they will have to at least use violence. They tend to use violence when it is needed to save or protect, right? And then we go a step further, and now we have like this entire thing up here with it like lawful to the point of obsessive obsession, right? Obsession. Did I write it right? Obsession, right? This. Dude, am I stupid? Anathema or taboo? You're still awake. Go to bed, young man. Anathema or taboo? Yeah, I think they. I think this should be like just a taboo, right? I think anathema is too strong because they would get punished for it. I think like we need to these things. These two things, they should be like something that should be frowned upon, but not like punished by like death or something like that. I think there's like a social punishment, but they're not like strict people who are like taking your hand for this. Or are they? Do we make them very, very overly strict? Are they like very much like, oh, you stole apparently? Bam, we take your hand. That is like also very interesting take on the Kitsune. They're like very harsh with their punishments. The question is, does it reflect anywhere in what they do, right? Big scratching my chin. Because I'm like thinking that these are definitely like one of the main things they should not do. I think it's nice to have them be very much, oh no, we are not intervening in any way, which is like the moral question of, and brings up the dark point of when to act and when not to, right? They don't interfere at all. They're like, oh yeah, the orcs enslaved everyone. That's the natural order of things, right? We are not interfering. They're like the guy who's like always flip-flopping between opinions and does not have a strong opinion on anything, right? If you say, do you like green or red more? And they're like, I see both sides all the time, right? I think monks are the most used thing for Kitsune, right? Monks and like spiritual classes. And monks have like dancing fight styles in Pathfinder, where they have dragon style, right? And dragon stance is basically like using spins and kicks. So, yeah. But we're not going into fighting styles right now. We just need to like pin down first what we want them to be. Or punish. I think punish should be one of the things here. Gives it a little bit moral ambiguity. I don't want to have them be the good guys. I don't want a singular good guy species. I want them all to be like a little bit fucked in the background, but they can be good people, right? Because like world history is not made out of like good people. Spoiler. So they ally with the giants over the years. They are like cool with the giants. Yeah, societies are smaller. No, are small due to thanks to. I said due to way too many times. Thanks to this strict ruling causing villages to have low resources, right? I don't want to have them be impoverished, but they're like, oh yeah, we have like grains for like the next year for like 3 people, so we keep like 3 people in the family, right? There's not more space unless we like kill that like tree over there, which is the source of life for like millions of beings. And how can I interrupt there? This is like not good, right? I don't want them to be like pure druids. I'd rather have them be nature sorcerers instead of druids. I don't want to have a 3rd druid species. I want to have 1 druid species, 2 druid species, with the orcs and the Kolo being very different in that. Where the Kolo are nomads, the orcs are just like elemental benders. They tend to be like that, right? And like medics, the orcs do more healing and elemental like usage, while the Kolo are like nature people, right? Very 2 different takes on that. And so I want the Kitsune to be like the spiritual equivalent to what the elves would be, where the elves are like very like trying to like find their like, well, trying to define more and more and find out more about themselves in like a magical sense, and like and how to like lift this curse upon them. I want the Kitsune to find their like spiritual meaning in that, and that's why I want to have them to be like a little bit different, right? I think the Kitsune should like actually like try to keep out of conflicts, and to the point of like them being also assholes. Not like big assholes, but they're just like, oh yeah, we saw this like entire force of orcs happen to walk by, but we tend to ignore that. we don't care for that, right? So basically they kept out of conflicts to the point of negligence, right? So they are like negligence, Jesus Christ. Where they're like, oh, we are not interacting with anyone at all, and this non-interaction causes more pain than like pleasure, right? There's like more bad than good happening. We can go through the entire things. Orcish Empire is kept out of the conflict and accepted that the orcs were dominating the elves. However, kept orcs. However, they kept orcs out of their villages and killed orcs and refugees alike for tampering with natural sites. So basically, like, I want them to like be very like, oh yeah, this like tree has been here for like 1,000 years, and now there's like some refugees trying to hide in it. We're just taking those down. They're like annoying, right? As soon as something like goes out of balance, they try to bring it into the balance of how things work the entire time, into the balance of law. I want to make them very law-abiding in that regard, which is why they make so many good monks, because they're like very, very, very zealous in the pursuit of like rules and a path that was given to them, right? Then we have Heritage War. I just do the side points of like Heritage War. Then we have Aetherflood, War of Unity, Darkened Age, Now. This is like the basis we should use for like getting the history points on them, right? Just to like get the basic infos. We do more in-depth stuff next time we do writing. I just, again, want to get the main points. We just do the Kitsune, and then I will head off, I think, because I'm getting tired of it. Heritage War. During the Heritage War, what did they do? They were defending the places they settled at. Fought orcs and refugees alike. And did not intervene in the conflicts directly. They tried to keep peace, but prioritized. Oh my god, prioritized keeping the law of the land, right? Oh no, not the law of the land. Tried keeping the balance of the world in check. Then during the Aetherflood, when they learned about the projects in the Mirror Belt, the Kitsune strongly condoned. Not condoned. Oh my god. Condemned, right? Yeah, condemned. Oh my god. Strongly condemned the actions of the rightfully lost. They did not intervene, however. When the Aetherflood happened, those who were swept away and died accepted their lot, while those who lived at higher elevation counted themselves as blessed. I think that is like one of the main points we should like keep on focusing, that they are like to the point like, oh yeah, this happened, 90% of us died, whoops. We mourn the losses, but it's the way that nature works, right? And that this is like what the survivors said. And so like the survivors are like, okay, now we just keep on chugging, right? They saw the Aetherflood as a natural progression to Azikoan interference with the planet. War of Unity, here's where they step in, and this is very important. This would be like a very big turning point. A changeling is deemed an unnatural cancer that tries to put the natural order out of balance. So for the first time in Azikoan history, the Kitsune intervened and tried to help the members of the Unity. Dark Age, the Kitsune retreated again, going back to their roots, and now the Kitsune are one of the few land-dwelling folk they are interested in learning the ways of the people living in a metropolis. However, due to them being the new natural order, we need to rewrite this heavily. But I think I like that very much, that they're like non-interfering instead, like except for this one occasion. But this is where I would put them right now. Very, very lawful, to the point of like being like annoyingly so like bound to rules. But we will rewrite that soon again. I will, however, now head off. So yeah, we will see each other tomorrow. Again, tomorrow we will start in the evening hours and do a little bit of streaming and go into my birthday stream. So see you around. Thank you for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye.